Hi, this is Tom here with the weekly podcast, and just wanted to share a few words with you this morning about how prayer is really an important part of the defense that we have, that God has given us as Christ followers. And I want to take you to Ephesians chapter 6. Ephesians is one of my favorite books of the Bible. Now, you might have heard me say that about a couple of other different books of the Bible, but Ephesians really is. I love this book. And it's out of Ephesians chapter 6. And it's the armor of God. And, there's been a lot of teaching about the armor of God. And sometimes I think one of the things that we miss is that last part about prayer and how that's part of that armor of God for us. So we'll pick it up in verse 13. It says, Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you might be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you'll be able to quench the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take up the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Those are some very powerful components that God has given us as Christians to defend ourselves, to be strong in the Lord. But listen to this in verse 18. It says this. It says, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints. That was included as part of the armor of God. And sometimes we forget about that last component of prayer. In fact, we used to joke, as I was part of a staff in a church in town here, we used to joke that, if you want to keep a crowd away, just announce that you're going to have a prayer meeting. And sometimes that was true. But prayer is such a key component. And it says praying with all prayer and supplication. There are a lot of different types of prayers that we can pray. We can pray prayers of intercession. We can pray prayers of agreement. We can pray prayers for our needs. Just so many different things. But that word supplication is really interesting there. The word supplication means an earnest petition. Some time ago, I shared with you one of my favorite prayer verses of all, 1 John chapter 5, verse 14, where it talks about us lifting our petitions to God and being confident that he hears us when we're asking according to his will, and that if he hears us, that he'll grant us the petitions we desire of him. Supplication takes that up a notch, and the word supplication there is an earnest petition. There are petitions, and then there are earnest petitions. And so just remember this, that if you feel like you're under attack, or if you feel like you really need some help from the Lord, never ever forget that power of prayer that comes. Oftentimes when we're in difficult seasons, we try to think of everything that we can think of that would help us to overcome the problems that we're facing. And sometimes we make prayer a last resort. I have a friend that used to always joke, has it come to that, when we say that we're going to pray? And that should be one of our first courses of action, is to go to the Lord in prayer and to ask him to help us through the things that we need. So remember, pray always. That means all the time, with all prayer, all different kinds of prayer, and supplications, earnest petitions in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance. So persevere in prayer. And then it repeats that word supplication. And so again, earnest petitions for all the saints. Pray for those around you. There are so many people that have needs. And again, I hope that this is a helpful thing for you. Never forget that prayer is a very key component of the armor of God that he has given us as followers of Christ, that we can protect ourselves and actually go on the offensive at times as well. God bless you, and thank you for all that you do at Direct Line Prayer Center.